there we are. No countdown today because I'm a bit late. How are you doing? Better late than never, eh? Yeah, exactly. Who said I was never late, by the way? That wasn't me. I'm always late. We've discussed this many times, regulars. We've discussed this many times. Looks like you're keeping your Ukrainian holiday on. Fuck me. I'll tell you what. You know what I noticed yesterday? I think it finally dawned on me that we are the bad guys. It's us. Hard for me to concede as a Englishman and an American, but we definitely are. We definitely are the bad guys. I was just thinking, looking at Boris Johnson's Twitter, where it's just constant, unending hatred for the Russians, and it's fucking weird. I just don't understand it. Russia, 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 Russia. For the last sort of 5 or 6 years, it's been endless with it. And yeah, I know that you've got to look after yourself, and you know, they're not our mates. But it's strange how they're always talking to compassion with everybody else. If it's like some fucking these lefty out, these woke arseholes, if it's anybody who doesn't have a tan, they're happy to just absolutely despise them. It's madness. It's madness that the color of your skin is so obsessed over by the woke that when something like, let's say, for example, someone who's got a tan rapes a child, which is the worst thing imaginable, as we've talked about. I hate the woke, emotionally histrionic people who don't want to talk about levels of harm by crime. They just go, crime's a crime, it's horrific. They talk as if shouting, "Get your fucking baps out, love," from a building site is as bad as fucking fingering an 8-year-old. They play that sort of whataboutism whenever anyone with a tan does anything wrong. And it's fucking mad. So, you'll talk about the grooming gangs and you'll go, look at this. 237 girls raped and abused by these 18 blokes in Luton. And they go, oh yeah. What about Jimmy Savile, eh? Like, why do you do whataboutism with crimes? Like, first of all, saying, what about these blokes in Luton who happen to have a tan? In absolutely no possible way, shape or form is me tacitly endorsing Jimmy Savile. And the really weird thing about it is, conservative people uniformly across the board have always been very, very, shall we say, swift in their condemnation compared to the left. I explained this to Geordie, right? You know that old Geordie bloke I used to drink with in York that I told you about, who told us that story about how he clipped his missus. And I was like embarrassed because it's in the middle of the bar. So I was trying to like meet him halfway and saying, oh yeah, but I'm sure, we all had a drink and she's probably hit you first or something. And he just went, I just fucking battered her, like. I remember telling him, saying, like, because he was obviously a Labour cunt. I remember saying to him, like, the one thing you always hear working class people talk about is immigration and crime and punishment. Working class Labour heartlands are full of people that are mega aggressive on crime and punishment. If you talk to your average Geordie Labour voter and say, what do you think we should do with nonces? Do you think he's going to be toeing the Labour Party line? Do you think he's going to be like Harriet Harman? And he's going to be like, oh, yes, well, oh, no, I wouldn't. He's a Geordie. He's not suddenly posh. He's not a politician. He's not going to be like, well, pedos, they always have bad childhoods, like. So maybe we should, like, send them on a course, have them go to Flamingo Land for a couple of weeks and make them play some games with them cards where you look at them and you go, oh, that reminds me of a cloud. And a few weeks later, they might be dead good and love kids, and then we can all give them jobs as lollipop men outside all the schools in the town. Do you think that's what a Geordie says when you start talking about nonsense? Do you know what I mean? This is the mad paradox, like I've said to you. The reason I've got so conservative over the last few years is not because I'm naturally conservative in any way. I'm naturally liberal. But I've got mega conservative because I'm a man of logic. And their arguments are always upside down and back to front. Like when it suits them, they'll say left. But then when it doesn't suit them, they'll say right. Like there is no consistency in anything they say at all. So this is why it demands that we change our minds and change our positions and go from, yes, lefty tosser to sensible, right of centre, centrist, reasonable, conservative, whatever, everything other than woke, because their arguments make no sense. And that is fucking mad, that. How, like, we are the ones, the centre and the right, who have always been consistent on crime and punishment. Punish the fuckers. Don't care about rehabilitation as much as I care about ensuring people don't do it again. And if the data suggests that being strict on crime works, i.e. Singapore has a low crime rate, Japan has a low crime rate, if the data suggests that it works, do it, is my position. But they are all peace and love, man. Oh, someone's done something wrong, send them on a course. Harriet fucking Harman. Oh my God, look at that one. White van, blue van man. Hazard was mates with David Joy of Pie. He lived in my village. He had a garage. He used to unfucking believe. Harriet Harman is pro-nonce. If anyone thinks that's a conspiracy theory, just Google it. Some of the comments she's made really are fucking mental. Like, so when it suits them, they'll be all, oh yeah, pedos. It's not their fault. They had a bad childhood. Send them on a course. Yeah, take them to Lakewater Valley for a month. Have some nice long chats on a couch with a psychiatrist, and then they can all be employed in the local kindergarten. They'll be brilliant teachers because they love kids, really. You just have to remove the sexual element. Fucking freaks. Harriet Harman and the Labour Party, full of freaks. Nonces. Again, Tories aren't free of it. But at least the Tory nonces have a good fucking decency to hide it. They don't go on telly and go, you know what, we should all bomb kids. That's what the far left do. Because, and again, think about it. It's logically consistent because the postmodernists, so they say you should question every official narrative, everything you thought you knew. They think you should question. So when we say something like, yeah, for over 100 years, we haven't thought it was acceptable to fuck kids, they'll say, no, there's no such thing as a grand narrative. Yeah, we must question this. If the old school conservative types are against it, we've got to be questioning why. You know what I mean? See, you agree with half of the Labour Party position there, Mr. Morris. It's just the latter half of your sentence that marks you as not being in Harriet Harman's camp. So it's a fucking mad world we're living in. It's a mad old world, isn't it? The inconsistency of the position baffles me. So let's talk quickly about it, because I did ramble yesterday. We didn't do any news. Let's talk quickly about this. Exactly as I told you it was going to go, and I'm not trying to act like I'm a savant. This is because I was listening to all of the legal experts. The GB News, Mark Stein had a guy on, and he called it exactly right, and I've just parroted his positions. Like I've told you fuckers all the time, the Bootneck doesn't practice false modesty. He's not a political savant. He's not a scientific or literary genius. He's just about clever enough to know that you should listen to cleverer people than yourself. All I do is read a lot. I mean, if you do that, you've got half the battle. These woke cunts, ideologues, they only read things that confirm everything they already think they know. So that's why they're thick. But this is gone exactly the way the guy said it would 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was like, of course they're going to fucking settle. Probably for high fucking, what did he say? 7, 8 figures. He said he's already said he's selling his ski chalet. This is weeks ago. So we knew what was going to happen, because it's all about the money. If you think Virginia, so I've been proved right about Virginia, this woman. It's not about, oh, this is for the victims, or this is for clarity, or this is for all the people in the world who suffer. This is about you lying in your fucking pockets. As we've talked about, it was controversial weeks ago when I was saying it, but I have little sympathy for grown women over the age of about, what was she, 17 or 18, who appear, in my opinion, and I know it is pretty shocking to say it, at least somewhat into the idea of getting paid large sums of money. And I've talked about it before. Rose McGowan is the same. Fucking, what's her name? The fucking spunk Bowser off the Hunger Games. Jennifer Lawrence. I'm not saying it's not immoral, but like I've talked about, only the woke deal in absolutes when it comes to crime and punishment. Normal, sensible people look at the big picture and make a decision. That's why you have a jury. It's why you don't have broad brushes for anything legal. It's not moral for directors and producers to pressure young women into it. But I'm just saying, you always have the option to say fuck off. And I know the women in the chat here, Kate and Maggie and all of those fucking conservative-leaning women, they've got integrity. My wife, most of your wives, I'm sure there's a few sluts in here. If they went to get a movie, if they really wanted to be an actress and they went to get a part and the fucking guy said, I'll put you in the next 3 films, but you have to give us a chew. Yeah? How about that? Not really interested in your acting ability. Suck me stump. I'm pretty sure most women would say, fuck you, you fat, frog-looking cunt. Jewish Baron Greenback. You're not getting a gobble off me. I'm not that desperate, thanks. That's what most women with integrity would say. And again, the left, being ideologues, will only ever throw out the opinion that a woman is always a victim. And the reason that doesn't sit well with me is because I think that cheapens the integrity and the decency of most women. Because I know for a fact all the women in my life who I've met, like I said, my fucking nana, Stabby Hilda, my nana Hilda, she was a bit fucking mental, but she was hard as fuck. And there's no way if some fat reptile asked her for a chew, he wouldn't get his cock fucking lopped off. Seriously, even if he had like 2 blokes and then he tried to rape her, she'd come up with something, she'd be like, all right then, I'll give you a blowjob, Harvey. And then she'd fucking get her teeth in it. See you later, bell end. Harvey'd be going home in a bucket if he got locked in the room with my fucking nana. And my mother's was the same. The way the woke are, which is why I think so many women who, again, are leaving the left, is because those women know. They look in the mirror and they know they've got integrity. And I think most women, I do think it's most women. I think if you got 100 wannabe actresses, 80 of them would say, fuck off, fatty. And that's why the vast majority of them don't become really successful actresses. Because sadly, it's weighted against you if you've got integrity. So most women who want to be actresses will get propositioned by a fat, horrible, slimy producer or director. And they'll say, fuck you. I'll keep trying to get by with my talent and I'll give it a couple more years. And then fuck it, I'll get a job in a bank. At least I tried. It's what most women who want to be actresses do. If you're a fucking spunk Bowser, yeah? If you slosh when you walk, yeah? It's like shaking a gallon of milk when you walk down the street while you're doing your shopping. If you're a spunk Bowser, yeah? Snail trail. You just sort of leave a trail of slime everywhere you walk. You'll be a fucking successful actress. It shouldn't be that way, and it's not moral what they do, but it isn't rape. It just isn't. And again, there's degrees of rape. I'm not fucking hardcore in any of it, right? I'm a reasonable chap. But it isn't rape. If they say, suck us off and you'll get a 3-movie deal, you are merely an extremely well-paid prostitute. Too many P's in that sentence. You're an extremely well-paid hooker. I don't like the word hooker. Reminds me of rugby. Definitely not a rugby player. If you're sucking Harvey Weinstein off. Definitely. Although, you never know. The fuck out them famous, rich and famous types, won't they? Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not cut and dried. Phil, Sam, you read a lot. I do read a lot. I didn't know she was 14. Yeah, so that's shocking. But blackmailing her. If she was the victim, again, right? So I'm happy to chase this down, and I might have my mind's changed. First question I'd ask her is, how is he blackmailing her if he's the rich, powerful bloke, and she's going to have been well aware that she's got his fucking balls in a vice? I don't see how, when you've abused a child, and even a 15-year-old knows it's a monstrous crime. If you're the one that's abused a child and you're the one that's got everything to lose, how do you blackmail her? That doesn't seem right. It seems like she would then blackmail him. A 15-year-old girl's quite savvy. Yeah, if you've noshed the prince off, you've got him then, haven't you? Can you blackmail him and say, I want X, Y, and Z, or I'm going to tell everyone? Another power thing can play into it. Again, mate, I haven't heard that. I'm sure, mate, you can. I'll send me a link. I'll read it. I'm sure. But in general, what I'm saying is there's degrees of impropriety, and Prince Andrew's out of order, and he's a creepy cunt, right? But a 50-year-old rich man shagging a 17-year-old girl isn't the same as a fucking Fred West or, a 40-year-old man shagging an 8-year-old. There's degrees, and I think this has been blown out of all proportion. I thought she was 17 or 18, is what I heard. And again, like I said, it is massively different. Only the woke deal in absolutes. If you don't think a bloke shagging a 17-year-old is any different from a bloke shagging a fucking 6-year-old, I don't know what to tell you. But there's a massive, massive difference. This is why we have a law, and in England, you don't get busted if they're above 16. I mean, you've got to pick a line in the sand somewhere. The other issue is, I know that the problem there is chronology is the only thing we've got to go by, right? Which is, again, why you have to be open-minded and you have a court. Because, I mean, think about it. It is logical as well, right? Only the Sith deal in absolutes, yeah. Some lads, let's pick a men, because we all know men are less mature than fucking women as well, up till he was about 30 probably. Blokes are fucking daft. My nana always said my Uncle Ian didn't grow up till he was 40. You know what I mean? Thrashing his motorbike when he's like 38, getting pissed, generally acting like a twat. If you get a 18-year-old lad who's immature as fuck, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he'd meet a 15-year-old lass and she's very mature for her age. Now, do you think he's a despicable rapist in that point? I'm very aware, again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because nobody fucking gets showed my shit anyway. But I'm well aware this is veering into dodgy territory. But what I'm saying is, all we've got to go off is chronology. You can't really, when you're talking about legalese, because you need it to be in black and white, you can't really talk about maturity or IQ or general demeanor. So we picked 16. And what I'm saying is, yeah, I get it. Some 16-year-olds are not going to be very mature, and it's going to be a lot worse than some 16-year-olds that are very mature. So it does depend on the person. But all I'm saying is, we drew a line in the sand. 16 is the line. A bloke shagging a 17-year-old isn't the same as fucking Fred West. And that's all I want to say about it. I really don't want to make the case for Prince Andrew because he is a cunt, and I'm not saying he's not a cunt. I'm just saying there's levels of cunt, and I don't think he's down there with fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer. Who else? Who's a good one who did Ted Bundy? There's a good one. So yeah, Prince Andrew's a cunt. Give her the money. Both shut the fuck up and stop talking about this story because it's doing my head in. I'm not interested. And yeah, there you go. And Virginia, I'll tell you what, honestly, she doesn't appear to be scarred physically by it. I don't believe he mistreated her particularly badly. It wasn't candle wax on the nipples and fucking, cat or nine-tails shit. I think for the amount of money he's just gave her, I'd suck his cock. If there was a knock at that door, and I opened it and fucking Prince Andrew was there with his balls out, I'd be like, fucking, how much? I know, again, I'm making light of it. I probably shouldn't, but come on. How bad is it? I think I told you lads that story once. When I first started working out here, there was a gang of like Mexican boys, who, sort of hard-working blokes loading deliveries on a van. And they were like, "Hey, Matt," because I was always having a good crack with them. And they're like, how much would it cost you to suck a guy's dick, man? And I was like, I just quickly in my head, because I was busy with something, and quickly in my head, I just thought, how long is it going to take? 5 minutes. How much money do you want? And I went, 100 grand? And they all sort of looked astounded, and one of them went, shit, dude, our cheapest was like $1 million, man. And they all started laughing as if I'm like some sort of fucking practicing homosexual. But the point was, oh no, I'm talking about cock again. The point was, in my mind, I just thought, if you're a tough guy and you're a stoic, if you really don't want to do something, you should fucking do it. And I don't want to do that. So I think it'd be a bit gay not to fucking do it. So anyway, there we go. Virginia, you earned your money. You fucking spend it and enjoy yourself, love. Fair play to you. But please, stop fucking talking about it. I hope she's got the money and she's got a gag in order, because I don't want the cunt doing the talk show circuit now. I'm seriously fucking sick of this non-story. And it's the same goes for Jennifer Lawrence and fucking Rose McGowan and every other fucker that's gobbling rich men for money. Right? Easy. Okay, let's talk about something not related to cock. Can we do that now? Why is Canada's COVID death rate much lower than the US? This is something that's been a contentious thing for me. Because, again, the left have played politics with it all the time. So the woke scum that are willing to just lie, cheat, steal, backstab, fucking pedo, anything to win, right? Because the communists. When there's been a right-winger in charge of a country, they constantly push the story. Fucking hell. Oh, my God, Trump's in charge and everyone's dying. As if, like, first of all, do you remember when they called it the Trump virus? Do you remember that? Pelosi went on fucking TV and said, oh, everyone's dying because of the Trump virus. I was like, the fucking Trump virus. The fucking Trump virus. Like Donald fucking, he's got a cauldron in his fucking Trump tower and he's there with like a headset on. Ah, my pretties, I shall make a wonderful brew. The fucking Trump virus, it had fuck all to do with it. It was a load of fucking lefty elites like fat fucking foreskin Fauci and all these fucking sneaky liberal cunts, upper educated, no common sense, fucking societal engineering shitbags. They sent American taxpayers' money. Oh, fuck, you can't talk about, can you? I'll get banned again. The evidence suggests maybe we paid for it, and maybe it came from somewhere that rhymes with Labrador. Fucking Labrador. It came from a fucking Labrador, yeah? Apparently, that might be what happened, yeah? And she goes on telly and goes, fucking Trump virus that. Well, what the fuck's it got to do with it? Like he made it in his fucking bathtub and then injected it into a rat and just released it into the sewers of New York. It's the maddest thing I've ever heard. So when there's a right-wing guy in charge of a country, Berlusconi is not Berlusconi, fucking president of Brazil. He's like, oh yeah, totally. Bolsonaro's fucking it all up. Oh my God, it's his fault. It's his fault. It's got fuck all to do with China. It's that cunt Bolsonaro, right? But then when there's a lefty in charge of a country, then you just get stories like this. Why is Canada's COVID death rate so much lower? It's like, oh yeah, well, Justin Trudeau's got his shit squared away. There's loads of fucking reasons why it could be. Remember when they were doing it in England? They were like, oh, why is it in Glasgow you're more likely to die of COVID than in the Swiss Alps? Because it's full of fat, drunk Glaswegians. Yeah, there's just one off the top of my head. Have you ever been for a walk around the fucking Swiss Alps? How often do you see a morbidly obese, sweaty, eating fucking battered Mars bars, drinking Bucky, and sleeping in the gutter with a fucking erection? How often do you see that in the fucking Swiss Alps? So there's literally dozens of different things that could be to blame for the COVID death rates. It can be down to the weather, the climate, the culture, the eating and drinking habits, the fitness regimes, the fucking socioeconomic status. Look, I'm just reeling them off. It's this easy. I can go all day. Can go all fucking day. And the woke constantly duke the numbers. It'll be like, oh, the black community suffers more from COVID. Yeah, well, the black community might have different hobbies and not go out in the fucking sun as much, or they might like eating more fatty food, or they might have a slightly lower education because of socioeconomic standards. There's fucking loads of reasons why. Whenever they do that little trick, my missus told me today, she read one. Oh, yeah, the black community is the biggest fucking victims of like road rage. I was like, well, it could be anything. These numbers are bollocks. If you took, I'll tell you what, this will be a good one. If you took any statistic that's negative about the black community, and all these BBC stories where it says, oh, the black community are more likely to die COVID, the black community are more likely to get ran over, the black community are more likely, it's everything. Anything negative, the black community is more likely. You go and fucking check those figures for the black community alongside the chav community. If we could just get figures where all you check is white working class live in a council estate in one of the 10 biggest shitholes in America or Britain. Yeah, trailer parks. They'll beat the black community. It's not because they're poor, it's not because they're black, it's because they're fucking poor. And it's obvious to anybody with a hole in their ass. Think about it. Immigrants to Britain, people that have lived there for fucking centuries, have had inheritance from people, mothers and fathers and grandparents and great-grandparents working in a civilized, stable, capitalist country and leaving them stuff. So if you've been in Britain for fucking 10 generations, you're more likely to have a bit of lower than if you're a fucking Bangladeshi who rocked up in 1988 without a pot to piss in. It's that fucking simple. And the BBC go, oh, why is it that black people are less likely to have loads of money? It's like, because they just fucking got here. Simple, innit? Simple. But how many poor immigrants from fucking Bangladesh turn up and they're wadded to fuck? All the rich as fuck ones don't care about moving. They go wherever they like. They've got to Monaco in the summer. They've got to fucking Paris and whatever. It's purely to do with money. So every statistic like this is bollocks. It's lies, damned lies and statistics. There are 100 different reasons why Canada's death rate could be lower. And it's not going to be as simplistic as Justin Trudeau's left wing and Donald Trump's right wing. So therefore, everyone's dying in America. I mean, fucking think about it. Everything. Exercise, education, money, lifestyle, hobbies, whatever. There's fucking loads of reasons. And being lower in Canada and the US throughout most of the pandemic. I mean, think about this one. I mean, I'll tell you what, here's one I've just thought of, which is fucking this is a hard one to think of. Canada is fucking massive, and it's got, what? How many people are in Canada? I'll show my ignorance, I don't know off the top of my head. How many people are in Canada? 40 million? Let me fucking Google it. How 40 million, I'd say. What is it? Oh, there you go. As usual, I'm a clever cunt. I'm probably right because that was 2020. So yeah, 40 million. So there's 40 million people in a country fucking massive, and then the other country that's basically the same fucking size. I mean, America's probably slightly bigger. Although no, Canada's got all the north where there's no cunt. There's no fucker there. So maybe that's a reason why. I mean, think about that. You're more likely to pass a virus on if you're in a city like New York than if you're in Manitoba or buttfuck Canada where there's nobody there. If your nearest next door neighbour's fucking 40 mile away and he's a Yeti, who are you going to give fucking COVID to? I mean, again, it's not daft, is it? It's not hard. So it's just bollocks. It's total shit. Oops. I think that was me for a change. Sorry. Let me have a look. Where's that screen gone? Well, when you're angry, sometimes you just hit buttons. There we go. Right. Pub shut. Yeah, so that's bollocks. Absolute B-O-Olocks. So that's that. Right, let's have a look at something else. Something else news related that's not going to make me get pissed. I'll do one more. Russia doesn't want a war. All right, let's talk about this. I mean, again, I wasn't going to talk about it because I'm sick of fucking hearing about it. But let's talk about it briefly, right? This may get me deported from the United States. But at this point, I think we are the bad guys. Right? I think we're the bad guys. The European Union has expanded east aggressively over the last 40 years. Again, I'm not being a clever fucker here. Peter Hitchens is my go-to man on Russia. Tulsi as well. I fucking love Tulsi. And they've been pointing this out. We've been expansionist. We've been aggressive. We've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And we've been demonizing the Russians aggressively. You know what pissed me off? I remember when it was the last big D-Day celebration, because I think it was a few years back now. And I remember posting on my Facebook, and it showed the Queen meeting all of the people involved in World War II. Russians didn't get an invite. And she's there shaking Macron's hand, fucking Merkel. She was shaking Merkel's hand. I was like, oh, yeah, they were fucking involved, all right, the cunts. It's like we hate the Russians. And she's there shaking hands with Merkel or everyone involved in the World War II. They were the fucking villains. And it's like, oh, yeah, no Russian invite. No, we can't invite the Russians to be our friends for a day. We're the fucking bad guys. We're antagonistic. We demonize them. Talk about trying to extend the hand of friendship. This is what I'm trying to tell people who aren't soldiers, who aren't military, who don't know this stuff. This is what I keep telling people on Quora whenever I'm writing about statues getting destroyed. Right? The only way you can really defeat an enemy, there's only two ways, right? Those who understand military doctrine, who understand military history, know this. There's only two ways. You either kill them or you make them your friend, right? And I'm aware I'm painting broad brushes, but as your soldier, you have to see things in black and white. Like I said, you can't see a Taliban guy with an AK-47 and shooting at your fucking mates and you go, did he have a bad childhood? Is he ideologically possessed due to the machinations of an intellectually superior Taliban orchestrator? No, you just go, fuck, cut with the gun. That's how it works, right? There's only two things you can do. Because what do you think a peace treaty is? That's being friends with them, right? So you kill them or you make them your friend. Two solutions. If it was still the 12th century, we could send them all to Australia, right? There's a third one. But we can't. We can't send them to Mars. Can't completely excise people. So it's two. It's kill them or make them your friend. And when you kill them, you have to kill all of them. Because humans are vengeful. And if you just kill a few of them, then the kids will want to kill you. And they'll kill your kids. And then your kids will their kids. And then it'll never end. Northern Ireland, every fucking grudge that's ever existed. Because humans are stupid, warlike chimps. So there's two fucking solutions. Make them your friend or kill them all. We appear to be going for the kill them all technique. Because Russia, it pains me to say, has been more dignified than we are. For the last 10 years, it's been Russia, demonizing them constantly. We've been trying to befriend the Chinese while they've been aggressively fucking us. And then we've been demonizing the Russians who've been a little bit fucking us. Right? I'm not saying they're our mates. You've got to look after yourself. They're not our mates. But we don't want to be their friend. We're just like, fuck them. We were the ones pushing west, pushing east constantly. And they kept drawing lines in the sand and we kept crossing them. Do you think the fucking American government would let the Russians, essentially, because this is what it all is, it's big picture stuff, NATO, it's basically their enemies. Would they let Russia park nuclear weapons in fucking Mexico so they could obliterate the fucking capital of the United States in 60 seconds or whatever it is? It's fucking mental. So the Russians cannot have Ukraine in NATO with atom bombs fucking parked right along the border with Russia. You can't blame them for being worried. And all we do is saber rattle. And look at the news for the last 2 weeks. And like I said, Boris Johnson's Twitter feed, it's just naked hatred for the Russians. Constantly, when will Russia stop? When will Russia stop? When will Russia stop? All we've done is fucking banged the drum. Expansionist, aggressive, arrogant Westerners. You've got to be friends with these people. We've got to live with the Russians. And then that's why they had to go at Trump, because he at least seemed to understand that. He was like, I don't know Putin. I don't want to have a war with him. And the second thing, which I feel like I have to point out, hello, Paz, glad to see you still on. I would say I always point out, you never know if Paz is going to get fucking wiped out by Susan when she's going to grab him by his short and curlies. And this is a big fucking point. Even if you could ignore all the preamble, even if you could happily ignore the preamble, right? You didn't care about nuclear bombs and NATO and US and EU saber rattling and shifting borders and demographics of Eastern Ukraine. You could ignore all that and it's still dodgy as fuck because of two fucking factors. One, the Ukrainian government is corrupt as fuck. We know it's corrupt as fuck. The Ukrainian government is as bent as an £8 note, right? It's as bent as Elton John's cock. And we all know where that's fucking been, right? So there's the big one. And the second one is the said bent Ukrainian government has given money. And again, I'm hoping that Susan can't fling me off for this one. I don't think this is a conspiracy theory, right? I think there is a paper chain, a paper trail. Burisma. I'm pretty sure the bent Ukrainian government has given over, let's say, millions of dollars to Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's brother, and Biden himself. He was referred to as the big guy in the papers. So Ukraine, bent Ukrainian government, literally gave millions of dollars to the sitting president, the sitting president's son, and the sitting president's brother, right? And they want us to just fucking kick Russia's ass because they're going near a region of the Ukraine which is more ethnically Russian and Russian speaking and identifies more as Russian than as Ukrainian. And they want to put nuclear fucking bombs there out on the border with Russia. And apparently it's not a big problem at all. We should just send American soldiers to die defending a fucking border, a very porous border that, like I've said many times, is more like England-Scotland scenario than fucking, it's not just Russia invading Norway, right? And they've all took money. All the high-ranking American elites have took money off the dodgy Ukrainian government. And we just think it's cool that we're going to fucking twat Russia over Ukraine. We're the bad guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the bad guys. Our government, the American government, the European Union, we're the bad guys. And the fucking Russians. I mean, they call him, you know, something else that pisses me off. They always call them names. Have you listened to the rhetoric they use? They call them names. It's like, I've never heard Putin or any of the sort of Eastern commie block types talk as fucking childishly as our leaders do. And again, it'd be fine if it was me or Trumpy, because we don't pretend to be mature. But Boris Johnson and Pelosi and Biden, he was going, Putin is a thug. That thug. Calling them names all the time. He's a thug, a murderer, a killer, a tyrant, a dictator. It's like, you do all the same shit they do. but they just don't call you names as often. A thug. Like, you fucking dodgy, sneaky rat bastard will take money off anybody. You've got the morals of a fucking gutter rat. You will take money off anybody. They all took money off fucking Epstein. You can bum little kids and they'll take your money. But Putin's a thug and he's evil and he's scum and he's a tyrant, he's a dictator. Oh, fucking really. You get your stinky, crackhead, talentless fuckwit son backdoored in everything he ever does, backdoored in strippers' arseholes, backdoored in the fucking National Guard, backdoored into politics, backdoored into companies, millions and millions of dollars, and everyone else is a cunt. Really? Yeah, cheers then. Like I said, it's like Harold Shipman calling me an arsehole because I got a parking ticket. Do yourself a fucking favour. I don't want to hear it anymore. None of these people have the moral right to talk shit about anybody. Certainly not me and you, but not even Putin. By their deeds shall ye judge them. I've seen Biden's fucking CV. Thanks. I know how moral Hillary Clinton is. Nancy Pelosi, $300 million since she's fucking entered the Senate. Oh yeah, these are moral people. Putin's not a nice bloke, but guess fucking what? This is also Putin. Oh, he's not a nice guy. You aren't a fucking nice guy, Joe. You're a horrible cunt. Horrible bastard. Clinton, Seth Rich, all the dodgy shit. It doesn't even all have to be true. Just some of it has to be true. Just a smattering of the flaming dog shit that's been laid on Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden's doorstep. Just a smattering of it has to be true. And they are the scum of the fucking earth. You wouldn't piss on them if you were on fire. If Hillary Clinton was on fire on my doorstep, I would be like, I'm not pissing on her. I might singe your pube. That's how much of a fucking weasel the political elite are. That's how nice these people are. And we sit there going, oh yeah, fucking hell. He's a bad guy, Putin. They're all bad guys. And maybe this will please Who's Who and any of the lefties in the chat. Boris Johnson's a cunt as well. My broad brush approach is we have been on the fumes since the 50s. Consequent generations of low IQ, immoral, just awful human beings. Boris Johnson is fucking scum. He's a rake. He's a fanny rat, right? You can see blokes like Boris Johnson, you guys who cannot control the fucking base urges. He's an absolute gash rat. Boris Johnson would fuck a hole in a tree. The man would shaft a barbershop floor. Don't tell me that he's not a fucking scumbag. All of our political elites are fucking scum. Keir Starmer is lower than a fucking snake's bollocks. So I'm not just having a pop at any one party. It's almost all of them. And all I'm saying is, you look at this big situation, you look how much dirty money's gone into the hands of the American president through the dirty Ukrainian government, and in good conscience, we cannot fucking, in good conscience, say it's a good idea to go to war with Russia over Ukraine. Because it's fucking too dodgy. Like I said, even if a lot of it's bollocks, even if only some of it's true, in good conscience, we can't have a war with fucking Russia over Ukraine because there's too much fucking baggage. You don't have to believe all of it. Only some of it has to be true for us to say in good conscience, I don't trust you. It's not a conspiracy theory to say that the Biden family's made money off Ukraine good for government. So when they're now telling us, you have to defend us at all costs, do we? Because it sounds a bit fucking dodgy. All right. There's nearly 45 minutes. I think we can call it a fucking day. But yeah, I think we're the bad guys. Putin's a cunt, yeah. But guess what? So are all our leaders as well. Two wrongs don't make a right, do they? They're all shitbags. So let's just fucking step back. I don't want to see one American life, one European life end, or even one Russian life as a result of the aggression and hubris of our corrupt politicians. Yeah? So fuck them all. And yes, as Blue Van Man wisely says, Ukraine wouldn't be happening if Trump was in charge. Peace through superior firepower. And when they know that Biden's took money off Ukraine and he's morally fucking decadent, and they know he's bent, and they know he's weak, they know he's a coward, there is no incentive not to take the piss. So, yeah, peace, fire, superior firepower. Trump's no-nonsense approach made him into a fucking... And I seriously, there's loads of problems I have with Trump, but anybody, even the most soy-based lefty cunt, would have to concede that on foreign policy, Trump was a fucking savant. Sorted out with Korea, sorted out with Russia, sorted out with China. We had no fucking issues with anybody until this fucking weakling comes in, and now it's all going to kick off again. So, yeah, that's what happens when you get weaklings who pander to bullies. Okay, I'm calling it. I'll see you all tomorrow. Same time, same place. Take it easy. Thanks for looking in. And don't forget to have a look at me Twitch and me fucking Reddit, because I've had a few messages about that. There's a link to Reddit, by the way. I keep forgetting about it. I will start fucking going on there. You can throw stories, questions, etc. at me on there, and I'll try and address them in the daily streams. All right. Cheers, guys. See you all very soon. Toodle pip.